Matrix 4 trailer. I'm sure you've seen it at least once. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. When I first watched it, I was kind of confused.
Lukewarm?
Like I was like I didn't know if I liked it or I just didn't at all. But I watched it several times again, and I my expectations are low. I'm going in it prepared to be disappointed, but I'm also going in prepared for it to be better than Revelations, but not as good as the Matrix 1 or Matrix 2. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy Matrix Reloaded, but I actually enjoyed it a great deal. I wasn't a huge fan of the third installment, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. It was just like it just wasn't as good as the other stuff, but it was still had its moments. It seems as though the story is almost like it's being rebooted.
No pun?
No pun. Pun actually really pun included. It actually feels like the Matrix is being rebooted, or there's an alternate universe within the Matrix, because you see what's her face? Trinity. You see Trinity and Neo.
Yeah.
And they meet. They're like, do we know each other? And this is all in the trailer, by the way, guys. No spoilers. They're like, do we know each other? And they kind of have this connection. I think that there are alternate universes or alternate realities, because Carrie-Anne Moss, thank you. I was going to say Carrie Fisher. Because there's the scenes where Neo is on the ground and it's raining and Agent's got a gun to his head, just like in the first movie. There's a scene where they're on the same roof.
Yeah.
Of the iconic,
they were not hiding all of the comparisons to the first.
It's literally it's like he's almost got to relive those same things, and it feels like we're gonna get at least in the beginning of the movie, we're gonna get a reboot of the Matrix, and it's almost like he's been taking the blue pill to forget and suppress everything that's been going on, and then he ultimately decides he dumps all the blue pills in the sink, and then the young Morpheus is like, I forget the line he says, the famous line, and then he ends up taking the red pill, and that's when he goes, he sees the white rabbit, and they got the Alice in Wonderland. They make it very on the nose, right?
They literally pulled out the White Rabbit song by Jefferson Airplane.
So it seems as though he's almost gonna relive the parts that happened quickly, like probably within like the first 45 minutes of the movie. He's probably gonna relive the most important parts, and then know that he's the one and has all the power. Like even the training scene with young Morpheus, it's just like what it was in the first one, except that here he's super powerful and he breaks into it pretty much immediately, right? So I think that it's an alternate universe or a reboot, and he's got to relive that almost like a program. It's like, it's designed a certain way. He's got to relive it, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know. That's my guess. Or they could just be throwing us off completely, and it's something completely new. But that's what I feel. And if that's the case, it kind of feels like cheating, because what I think they're going to do is kind of like what they did in Star Wars Episode 7, where they kind of redid A New Hope. I think they're going to redo The Matrix 1 so that people are like, it's enough. It's huge nostalgia to the point where it's almost reliving a scene. It's almost like you're remaking the movie. You're like rebooting it, but knowing that these characters are older and you can kind of get away with it because it's the Matrix. You can do whatever you want. It seems like the movie will have enough nostalgic factors, and they know what works. And if they just add to it a little bit more and then pick up where we left off towards the end of the movie, they're setting up the next two, right? And they'll probably film 2 and 3 back to back like they did before, and then they'll release those, and that's when you'll kind of get more of the story after where we left off. I think we're going to get a lot of regurgitation and a rebirth. They even call it, I think it's called what's it called?
It's called Resurrections.
Resurrection. And you even see them going through the whole, going through the Matrix, and I'm expecting mediocre. That's what I'm expecting. If it blows me away, congratulations, but I'm going in with my expectations low. But I'd be a liar if I said I'm not intrigued, because I am.
Yeah. I mean, so when I watched the trailer for the first time, it was very obvious immediately how many parallels to the first movie they were drawing visually. It was like fucking every single scene almost was at least if it wasn't showing an almost identical thing, it was referencing something from the original.
He's reliving. He's literally reliving the same stuff. The stopping of the bullets, right?
The stopping of the bullets, the helicopter on the rooftop. Everything was very referential. They it is definitely heavy-handed. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris's guy is wearing blue-rimmed fucking glasses. The girl in the inn or whatever fucking motel is wearing red-rimmed glasses.
Yep.
Like they're not hiding anything. It's like beating you about the head with it. And so it makes me wonder if that was done intentionally and that they're just going to subvert all that shit with the actual film, or what. Like if they were doing all this so choosing what they're showing in the trailer so deliberately that it's leading you to have an idea of what's really going to be like, and then just like fucking
I believe that they are going to make it seem like it's some sort of program or alternate reality, and what they're going to do is they're going to retcon the last two movies. We're going to relive the first movie quickly, but he's still going to have that progression as a character by the end of it. And we're gonna take the story into different directions. This is why we got a different looking Morpheus. We got different looking Agent Smith. I think we're gonna get a rehash, but it's almost like they're going to be able to make good on the stuff that people didn't like about the last two movies, and take this program or this alternate reality into a new direction. It's like, we know what happened over there, and that's still a thing, but this is what happened if he ended up taking the blue pill for so long, and now he's, I don't know. That's the thing. It's the Matrix. Anything can happen, but I think that is what is going to happen.
Because if it's like a full reboot, like if you think about it that way, if it was like a full reboot, it's like the question then becomes, so if it's a reboot and he's getting pulled back in, there's a different Morpheus. Morpheus is still doing the same thing he did the first time, trying to get him to wake up, trying to get him to realize what he is. I mean, the fact that they were in the dojo means he was already out of the Matrix, so they're showing them out of the Matrix as is. But then, like, technically back in the Matrix in the fighting arena, but you know what I mean when I say out of the Matrix. So if that's the case, then it makes me like the question that comes up is this Neo's second run to go in and reset the Matrix in the exact same way that he did it the first time, but since that happens externally the Matrix and it was never the program's intention, then it would make you believe that this time there is an intentional the program is intentionally bringing him back in. And then the question that I had immediately is, at the end of the third Matrix, Neo is in the Matrix, he's flying around doing his shit, doing the fucking Superman bullshit, whatever the hell he wants to do. What was the catalyst to have him suddenly forget absolutely everything? Did he choose to? Or did he want to forget? And if so, why did he want to forget?
I think he started taking the blue pill, right?
And then he starts taking the blue.
That's suppressing all of his memory and whatnot. And then something might be he ends up.
But that means Trinity had to do it too. Trinity would have had to have taken the blue pill too, because they're both looking at each other like,
who the fuck? Yeah, but maybe he bumps into her, and they bump into each other. And then there's this connection, and then their love for each other and their connection makes them want to stop taking the pill to see what kind of past they had, and then realize that, okay, this is who we are, and let's go back there and do what we need to do. No, I don't know. At the end of the day, the story was closed for good or bad, and now because of money and because
it's back
Keanu
open.
Reeves' resurgence, it's back. So whatever fucking ridiculous reason for all of this happened.
Chris saying, more importantly, Neo and Trinity were dead by the end of Revolutions.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why the movie's called Resurrections.
Yes.
Obviously.
Maybe they can go back in time. Maybe maybe Neo can go in there and redo the wrong. You know, maybe there's been some sort of a crack in the code, and you know they can go back in time and or relive the past so that it forges a new future, so that the old one gets canceled out and then they can be together. I don't know. It's because you're dealing with AI and computer shit and fucking Matrix stuff. They can do whatever they want, right?
So
fun.
Here's my next question for you. Why was Lawrence Fishburne not approached to come back for this film?
I believe that he was in some degree. I just don't know if it was something that it was a role in which he wanted. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't at all. I mean,
it just seems weird that they got 2 of the 3 and somehow they couldn't convince Lawrence Fishburne of anyone to come in.
Well, I mean, Lawrence Fishburne is not in great condition. Doesn't seem like he is in the best shape of his life. He hasn't been doing anything notable. You know, he has talked illy about the Matrix in certain ways from what I was told or from what I've heard. Not to the point where they wouldn't bring him back. But I don't know. Maybe they are planning to have him back, but not in this film. Maybe it's the young Lawrence Fishburne.
Maybe it's movie 2.
Morpheus. Well, they're not doing Matrix 4 as a one-off, man. If this makes money, they're making 2 and 3. 100%. Keanu is not signing up for one fucking Matrix movie when he could go and do whatever the fuck he wants to do. My guess is they did approach him and they told him that, hey, you know, you're going to have a role like fucking Luke Skywalker did in the episode 7 where you show up at the end of the movie and that's the show. While everybody else in the film that was part of it before, like Hugo Weaving isn't even in this movie, right? So, yeah. and he's, in my opinion, more iconic than Keanu, than Neo. Like, Agent Smith he's got the most memorable lines. He's the most interesting villain I had seen in a movie and still is top 3 villain ever that I've ever seen in a film. The guy, like, if you go back and watch his work, it is absolutely amazing what he does with that character.
Hugo Weaving is a baller.
He is absolutely an amazing actor. He's not in this movie, to our knowledge. So this could be a thing where either they offered him a very small part and he didn't like the fact that Trinity and Neo are getting these big roles and they're making big money. I mean, what's Lawrence Fishburne doing with his life right now? I don't know, but he's not much of a working actor. He's not making, millions of dollars in film, right? Maybe he was like, this is my chance. Who knows? Or maybe
he's John Wick now.
Yeah, maybe they didn't offer him anything. Yeah. Because they're going to offer him something if the movie's financially successful, and they're going to give him a role in the second and third, and they want to tell the story with the young Morpheus. Maybe there's a reason why, because of this alternate reality. I don't know. I don't know. But the fact that they would just scuff him out there, do nothing at all, they're not in, he hasn't been talked to in any way or been hinted or anything like that. I have a hard time believing it, but if they didn't, I'm sure they will in the future. If he plays his cards right. He's not bashing them for it. He's not like shitting on them.
No.
From what I read is he was just like, I wasn't approached. I don't know why I wasn't approached. I wasn't approached. They haven't told me anything. So maybe he will get a nice juicy spot. And if it's a huge success, listen, if you've got all of your big stars or half of your big star cast, your main Trinity and Neo, right? You got them coming back and they're doing their thing. Imagine for the preview of the next one that Hugo Weaving and Morpheus are back. I mean, that's going to put seats in the chair. Right now, if Hugo Weaving and Morpheus are in the movie as well, it isn't adding any box office. The movie's going to do what the movie does. But if the movie is okay or good and now they're adding the other characters that you love on top of it, and the story is getting better, that's going to put more seats in there, and it's going to make people want to go out that didn't watch 4 to go out and watch 4 to get on for 5 and 6. That's my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they just don't like them. I don't know.
That's entirely possible, but I mean, I guess it's like for nostalgia factor for me, because that's all the Matrix is now. I don't, like you, I'm not like, I don't think that I don't have like high hopes that this is going to be as good as 1, where there was like some pretty decent philosophical fuckery going on in there, where it was like more than just an action movie. I don't know. I don't think we're getting that. At least I don't. That's not my expectation. I hope that for me, then nostalgia is the only thing getting me, and so I see fucking Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss on screen together, and I'm seeing like them doing this Matrix shit again. I get excited. If you end that movie and then fucking in the cheesiest way possible, they're walking into a shop and somebody drops a newspaper and it's Lawrence fucking Fishburne sitting behind a newspaper, and then just in the background you see somebody walking down the street and it's the fucking like profile of Hugo Weaving. I'll come thrice.
Maybe they are in it, dude. Maybe they have very small roles and they have secretive. A cameo in the movie or at the end to tease the next one. It's very possible, because in the other Matrix stuff, like they'd end on a cliffhanger, especially like in Reloaded and stuff. Imagine, they get through all this and then, at the very end of the film, Neo's there, and then all of a sudden you hear Mr. Anderson, and they see you see Hugo Weaving, right?
Dude, I would I'd pass out.
Yes,
I'd pass the fuck out.
There is a chance that could very well happen, and they could be lying. Like Lawrence Fishburne could literally be lying. His role might be very small. It might even be a voiceover. It might be something super small or just one shot. Who knows? Maybe there's a post-credit scene and they show up. Who knows?
Last question before we move on. Over under guns. Lots of guns.
Oh, all kinds of guns. It will be, every liner will be said in that film. All of them. Every single one of them. I think we're going to get everybody back eventually. Like, I think we're going to see, like, the Keysmith. We're going to see the
that dude is probably too old.
We're going to see, but a different, like, younger version.
Oh, I see what
right?
you mean.
Like, yeah. I don't
the
mean
Frenchman
like the original,
and all that shit.
That guy might not even be alive now, but that guy was old then. But no, I think we're going to get a complete reboot. I fully believe 4 is going to be a rehash of the first to get everybody sold, on board, excited. And then 5 and 6, you'll get some new stories.
At some point, The Matrix Rebooted had to have been a working title where they said, you know what, that's just too fucking obvious. We can't do it.
Yeah, well, not only that is they probably don't want to confuse the audience, because if they call it Matrix Rebooted, people are going to think that
it's a literal reboot.
It's a reboot or a reimagine of the story, which it is, but they don't want people, like, it is and it isn't. You know what I mean? So, like, you got to be careful. But I think the Resurrection is probably a better name for it. So we'll see.
Either way, my body's ready. I just need nostalgia in my life, and the Matrix nostalgia, I'm there for it. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah, and it's going to be digital and theater release,
which is
at the same time.
I want so bad to see it in IMAX, but it will entirely depend on how the winter goes.